दानेषु यत्पूर्णफलं तुदुष्टम् अर्थेति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानुपेति वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्या
Vedeshu, in the Śrīla Vedas, Yajneshu in the performances of Vidya, Tapashu in undergoing different types of austerities, Cha also is certainly Daneshu in giving charities, yet that which Punya Phalam, result of pious work, Pradishtam indicated, Atyeti surpasses, Thus Sarvam, all those, Idam, this, Viditva, knowing, Yogi, the devotee, Param Supreme, Sthanam, abode, Upati achieves, Cha also Adyam, original. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the result derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing classical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. Purport by Swayam Śrīla Prabhupāda. This verse is summation of the 7th and 8th chapter, which particularly deal with spiritual consciousness and devotional service. One has to study the Vedas under the guidance of spiritual master and undergo many austerity and penances while living under his care. A brahmachari has to live in the home of the spiritual master just like his servant, and he must beg alms from door to door and bring them to the spiritual master. He takes food only under the master's order, and the master neglects to call the student for food that day. The student falls. These are some of the Vedic principles for observing brahmacharya. After the student studies the Vedas under the master for some time, at least from age 5 to 20, he becomes a man of perfect character. The study of the Vedas is not meant for the recreation of armchair speculators, but for the formation of character. After this training, the brahmachari is allowed to enter into household life and marry. When he is a householder, he has to perform many sacrifices so that he may achieve further enlightenment. He must also give charity according to the country, time, and candidate, discriminating among charity and goodness and passion and goodness, as described in Bhagavad Gita. Then, after retiring from household life, upon accepting the order of Vanprastha, he undergoes severe penances, living in forest, dressing with tree bark, not shaving, etc. By carrying out the orders of brahmacharya, household life, Vanprastha, and family sannyas, one becomes elevated to the perfectional state of life. Some are then elevated to the heavenly kingdoms, and when they become even more advanced, they are liberated in the spiritual sky, either in the personal Brahmajyoti or in the Vaikuntha plans of Krishna. This is a path outlined by Vedic literature. Om Gyantimarandasya Gyanam Janashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Bhutale Vayam Rupa Kalamayam Vadanti Sevadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shrita Patakamlam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sarjatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sadivam Savadetam Savadosham Haridana Sahitam Majetanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakam Vitam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasha Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Bhima Vadayate Krishnaya Krishnatanya Namne Gaure Tase Nama He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Haripide Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyacha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Ji Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So this purport, so I've taken this today's topic is Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, but in the post they put Chatushloki Bhagavatam. But I thought to cover both Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita also and Chatushloki Bhagavatam also. There. So first, how to learn Bhagavad Gita? What is the benefit of reading Bhagavad Gita? See, initially we start our journey with Bhagavad Gita. And after some time we think, oh, now we have read Bhagavad Gita, now no need to read Bhagavad Gita, we should only read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and that to pastimes of Krishna. Right? But that is not the way for spiritual perfection. That is not the way to spiritual perfection. We have to go stepwise. And honestly, in my life also, 2020, Rashtrampur had told me I should read Bhagavad Gita. I was feeling Bhagavad Gita we have read so many times. So time we have done Bhakti Shastri. We should read 10th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So I was thinking like this. And then COVID time came and I had to take the Gita course, 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. So that time I thought, there are so many verses, how to explain to new people? Then I started reading new commentaries, reading Prabhupada purpose deeply. Then the first time I understood, I never understood Gita. In 2020, I understood, I never understood Bhagavad Gita. What all I have was a superficial understanding of Bhagavad Gita. And the real understanding of Bhagavad Gita started from that time. So Bhagavad Gita is something very, very important. Of course, I remember when in 2011, when I joined the ashram, that time I used to read Bhagavad Gita in the morning. We used to go for Gita distribution on Ekadashis, on December marathon. And what reading was to happen after going for marathon, that was very special. Because when you do service of Śrīla Prabhupāda, you're also able to understand his purports. First, you have to serve Guru before understanding his Vani. So Prabhupada's books are Prabhupada's Vani. When you go for book distribution, it's like serving Śrīla Prabhupada. There. So if you see here, this verse talks about Śrīla Prabhupada is telling if you have to achieve perfection, what you have to do? First, go to the ashram of, this is a general Vedic way of perfection. Go to the ashram of Guru. Go bang arms door to door, bring them to spiritual master, and observe brahmacharya. Then afterwards, person should go into grahastha ashram and then perform many sacrifices and do charity. Then go to Vanaprastha stage of life and then take sannyas. Now, most of us, the brahmachari life is already over, right? Means 1 to 25 is the brahmachari life, or 21, that is already over, and none of us got training in brahmachari ashram. In the Vedic Gurukul time, 5 to 21. Generally, devotees come here at 18 years of age. Youth come at 18 years of age. But Prabhupada says very amazing thing. The beauty of Krishna consciousness is that by one stroke, by engaging in devotional service, one can surpass all the rituals or the different orders of life. That one can surpass all the rituals. How? By Krishna consciousness. That means even somebody has not undergone all this training and thing, still there is a hope and mercy. And the words idam viditva indicate that one should understand the instructions given by Sri Krishna in this chapter and the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. One should try to understand these chapters not by scholarship or mental speculation, but by hearing them in association with devotees. And chapters 7 through 12 are the essence of Bhagavad Gita. The first 6 and last 6 chapters are like coverings for the middle 6 chapters, which are specially protected by the Lord. So, what is the main essence of Gita is in chapter 7 to 12. And if one is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita, especially this middle 6 chapters, in the association of devotees, then his life at once becomes glorified beyond all penances, sacrifices, charities, speculation, etc. For one can achieve all the result of this activity simply by Krishna consciousness. And now, how Bhagavad Gita takes to perfection, that is Śrīla Prabhupāda explaining. Because one should find a devotee who understands the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. Then in that association, one who understands the purpose, only devotees can understand Bhagavad Gita, so find a devotee. And one should therefore learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee of Krishna, not from mental speculators. This is a sign of faith. When one searches for a devotee and fortunately gets a devotee association, one actually begins to study and understand Bhagavad Gita. By advancement in the association of the devotee, one is placed in devotional service. And by reading Bhagavad Gita, what happens? All anarthas goes away. Right? This survey dispels all other misgivings about Krishna or God, and Krishna's activities form pastimes, name, and other features. Even before beginning to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, if one understands Bhagavad Gita very nicely, all his anarthas will go away. Systematic study of Bhagavad Gita, all the anarthas will go away. So after these misgivings have been perfectly cleared away, one becomes fixed in one study, then one relishes the study of Bhagavad Gita and attains the state of feeling always Krishna. In the advanced state, one falls completely in love with Krishna. The highest perfection stage of life enables the devotee to be transferred to Krishna's abode in the sixth sky, Golok, Vrindavan, when the devotee becomes eternally happy. So one relishes the study of Bhagavad Gita and attains the state of feeling always Krishna conscious. In the advanced stage, one falls completely in love with Krishna. Right? And this higher perfection state of life enables the devotee to be transferred to Krishna's abode in this way. So just by hearing Bhagavad Gita, all the narthas, they go away. That's what this verse talks about, that by hearing Bhagavad Gita, understanding Bhagavad Gita. And actually, I was telling my experience of 2020 when I read that Bhagavad Gita during COVID time. And then I realized Bhakti is so simple. To go back to God, it is so simple. We only make it complex. Our fruitive mentality is what makes it complex. Otherwise, the process is very simple and easy. But we have made it very complex. And if you, especially now, the essence of Bhagavad Gita is in the middle 6 chapters. But to practice the middle 6 chapters, because we're so engaged in karma, we have to understand the first 6 chapters and the last 6 chapters. Like, suppose a bread jam is there. You have to eat a jam. Directly you eat jam, it will not give so much taste. But when it's mixed with the bread, it will digest it properly. The same way, the main essence is the middle 6 chapters. But to digest the middle 6 chapters, how to live in this world, the first 6 chapters and the last 6 chapters also very important to understand. So when I understood those first 6 chapters, during those time, I realized Bhakti is so simple. We make it complex due to our fruity mentality and mental speculation. This is it. Annabhilashita shunyam jnana karma navritam. And if you read first 6 chapters, you understand life is so easy. But due to our own desire to control over, own desire to lord over, feel proprietorship of things, I'm the proprietor, controller, and the enjoyer. And we are suffering. Otherwise, bhakti is so simple. So anybody who systematically reads and listens Bhagavad Gita in the same realizations. That by performing Bhakti Yoga, it's very simple, easy when we understand Bhagavad Gita there. And most of the problems we are facing in our life because we have bind ourselves with our fruitive mentality. We think mere bina ye kaam nahi hoga. And this person is not doing this, that's why my life is frustrated. So most of the time we get bound by this networks of illusion. But when one goes the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, one understands that there is no problem only in life. There. And then one takes to the path of Bhakti Yoga, life becomes very simple. So today we thought to read the Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita, the 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita. Now the Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita is the essence. Why is the essence of Bhagavad Gita? We'll see that. Before that, I narrate the Mahatmya. In Padma Puran, there's a Mahatmya of each chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And honestly telling, my journey when I started reading this Mahatmya, I had a one Gita plus Bhagavad Gita, which is each chapter Mahatmya is there and Sanskrit to Hindi meaning is there. And I used to, those days, I've not met any devotee, but I used to like the Mahatmya very much. That gave me a lot of interest in Gita. But when I go back and read those Mahatmas again today, then I feel I've got something more than that Mahatma. As devotees, we have got much more than that Mahatma, because Shuddha Bhakti is something beyond any comparison. But nonetheless, the Mahatmas are also given in the Padma Puran by Vyasadeva. It's also important there. So the Mahatma comes in of a Padma Purana, the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Shiva is talking about the Lord Shiva was very nicely take care. So Lord Shiva talks to Parvati. I will talk you the glories of 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is told by Lord Vishnu to Lakshmi Devi. And काशीपुरी में एक ब्राह्मण था धीर बुद्धि. That Brahman's name was Dhir Buddhi, and whom Lord Shiva will personally follow. Lord Shiva will personally follow that. So one time Lord Shiva's associate Bhinki Riddhi asked, अरे ऐसा क्या किया उसने तो इतना आप उसकी सेवा कर रहे हो? Like some great soul serving some ordinary devotee, you'll feel अरे ऐसा क्या है इसमें? हमें भी तो बताओ करके. So they are asking. And then Lord Shiva said, one time in Kailash Parvat, Lord Shiva was sitting and huge winds came, and that time one black swan came. And black swan offered 5 lotus flowers to Lord Shiva. And then Lord Shiva inquired about him. He said, I'm the swan carrier of Brahmaji. He said, swan to white hota, to black kaise ho? Then he started narrating his story that the bird, that in Saurashtra, there was one beautiful lake. And while he was flying over the lake in Saurashtra, he fell down. He immediately became black and fell. And a voice came that, oh swan, get up. I will tell you the reason why you fell down and your body turned black. And there was a beautiful officer who spoke about, because you crossed the 5 lotuses, actually she was one Apsara who was cursed to become 5 lotus. So she spoke and she said that, I will tell you why did you fell down over here. And she said, while you were flying, O swan, you flew over me, and due to this offense, you fell down and turned black. And then she narrated her own story. She was a wife of a chaste wife of a Brahmana named Saroj Vadan. And one day, and she was chaste and serving her husband, but one day she found the manna. One day she found manna, a black bird. And due to looking after it, the service to husband became affected, for which he became angry and cursed him and became manna. See, Brahmanas and Vaishnava, this is different. Brahmanas are very fastly cursed, but Vaishnavas tolerate and forgive. So she became Mena, but because she was chaste, so she got association of the sages. And those sages, and one of the sages' daughter used to look after this Meena. And while staying there every morning and evening, she will hear the 10th chapter recitation or 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So because of that, hearing the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita recitation, she became a heavenly lady, Apsara. But now heavenly Apsara, they keep enjoying. And rishis, they get cursed in the rishis. Rishis are doing tapasya and they bhang their tapasya and something or other they get. So generally there is no sin over there. But there are curses immediately effect there. So she was also going. So she was and her name was Padmavati, and she was traveling in a flower aeroplane, and he saw a beautiful lotus flower on this lake, and she started to enjoy. That time Durvasa Muni came and saw me completely naked. Being afraid of him, she took the form of 5 lotus, and Durvasa Muni understood. And Karzam, you remain like this. And from that time, for 100 years, she was like this, and until you will stay in the form of 100 years, and it disappeared. But since she was remembering the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and when he crossed over, she became free from the curse. So now she told this story. See, there are nested stories. Now she told this Mahatmya of 10th chapter of Gita to this bird who had become black. So now he also recited the Bhagavad Gita there. So that black swan completed his story, immediately gave up his body and took birth in a Brahmana family, a Dhir Buddhi, who from childhood always chanted the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And this Padmavati, reciting the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, she left an aeroplane for Vaikuntha. Just by reciting 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Nothing could help her. Being Apsara couldn't help her, she got cursed. Being a wife couldn't help her, she got cursed. But chanting 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita could help her to go to Vaikuntha and never come back. So this is the beauty of learning and reciting Bhagavad Shlokas, because these are the verses of Krishna personally has spoken. So they are very, very special. And whoever would hear the chanting from him would attain darshan of Lord Vishnu. So Lord Shiva is telling now, whoever hear the chanting from this Dhir Buddhi would attain darshan of Lord Vishnu, who is holding the Shankha and Chakra. Whoever would hear the chanting, whether they are fallen and into intoxication or even killers of Brahmana, they would attain the darshan of Lord Vishnu, who is holding the Shankha and Chakra. For that reason, I am always serving Dhir Buddhi. Whether one be male, female, sannyasi, or grasta, if he chant the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he'll attain the darshan of Lord Vishnu. Yeah. So it's so glorious Mahatmya. But the glory of 10th chapter is something even beyond seeing the darshan of Lord Vishnu. It's Shuddha Bhakti than any other chapter there. And that's what the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita we are going to discuss there. And everybody should remember this Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita and recite. How many devotees remember Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita? Okay, Abdul Vinay Prabhu, Yogesh Prabhu, Kripakar Prabhu, okay, Bhavana Mataji also remembers there. So nice. Anyone else remember? So no problem. So it's a good opportunity to remember there. So after this class, you should take a resolution to remember this Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. And that's what is very, very important. Actually, I was very inspired by reading the Mahatmya of 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So one person used to recite 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and by reciting the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he went to Indraloka. Then who's the Indra? He fell down from his seat only because the punya of this person was very high. Then this Indra inquired, "Arey, मैंने तो हम शत कृतु मैंने इतना सब किया और now I fell down. You know what is all that happened?" So then what happened? The that person told, "I just simply chanted 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and that's how I became Indra." So Indra got very inspired. He came to Prithviloka. to learn 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita to again become Indra. And he was learning 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita from a Pandita, from a devotee. But what happened as he keep reciting 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, keep thinking of the meaning of 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he forgot to become Indra and he renounced and became devotee and went home back to God. So that's the real beauty, huh? The Bhagavad chanting that all mental desires in our heart gets finished. And that was very inspiring story to me. It means Bhagavad Gita is something higher than becoming high post of this world. That even Indra got transferred. He wanted to become Indra, but he got transformed by reading the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and went on back to Garden. So when Sanskrit shlokas, especially Bhagavad Gita shlokas, you recite with meaning, it has great power. And as you keep reciting them, the meanings will also keep revealing them. The shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, shloka of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. See, distributing books is very, very important. But hearing about Gita is also very important. See, in ISKCON, there had been a history where people have been distributing books, and they got off ISKCON only. There. Because they never read Prabhupada book. They did not give time for reading Prabhupada book. They did not give time to hear Sri Prabhupada books. So we have to do both things, read Prabhupada books, hear about it, and then preach to others. And then our preaching will become very effective. And the motives will remain pure in book distribution. Otherwise, the motives becomes with a number. Then you will get a number. But if your motive is to please Guru and Krishna through book distribution, then you will get Shraddha Bhakti. Because, and that's what the Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita very explained. So some devotees wanted to go for book distribution. I said, come for IYF class. So I'm giving explanation why did I say that. Right? Because just by mere doing some activities, you won't attain Shraddha Bhakti. But following instructions, we attain Shraddha Bhakti. So let's start. What is relationship between Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita and Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam? I'll mention in between. First, we start with the first shloka. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitah. Yes. So, and the Sanskrit is very, very simple. How many of you are able to understand the meaning just by seeing this verse? Anyone? Those who have not known before, just seeing the verse, are you able to understand the meaning? Little verse. See, aham, me. Sarvasya, sab kuch, prabhavo, bhavo, prabhavo, source. Prabhav. Mata, mere se, sarvam, pravartate, manifest. Aham sarvasya prabhavo, mata sarvam pravartate. Such a simple meaning. Isn't it? Krishna as a person, Krishna is saying, I'm the source of everything. Everything emanates from me. And the same thing Krishna says in the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Aham evasham evagre nacha sannyatasat param. That before this universe, I only existed. Now this universe has come into being, I only existed. And after this universe will die, I only will exist. That's what we're saying there to Brahmaji. And in Chatushloki Bhagavatam, Krishna spoke to Brahma at a time when nothing was there in the universe. When nothing was there in the universe, and Brahma was not there. Brahma was just lying on a lotus flower. and nothing was there. Not the chand, the sitare, suraj, nothing was there. Everywhere, just water, sound of water. It's dark, complete darkness. Sometimes you are alone in a dark room, no? Light goes away. Feel like क्या क्या हो गया? सब light वाइट चला गया. कुछ computer नहीं, laptop नहीं, कुछ नहीं. Think about a situation. Daylight is not there, night light is not there, electricity is not there. You're alone in a dark room, and there's nobody around. Has anyone experienced like this? Previously, childhood used to get experience. Light off ho gayi, and thing. Nowadays, you don't get experience, and you feel nothing, and nobody is there to talk. Also, what will you do? Just alone. No creation. Not even trees are also there. In that situation, Lord spoke. Brahmaji did heard the word tapa. He did tapa. Then actually he saw the Lord, and at the time Lord spoke to Shloki Bhagavatam to Brahma. And he's telling the same thing that before the universe I was there, the universe you see, I'm only the universe, and at the end I only remain. And what Krishna is saying, iti matva bhajante mam. If you understand this, then only you can do my bhajan. Buddha bhava samanvita. That Buddha, so Buddha means unintelligent. Buddha means intelligent. Bhava samanvita. They worship Krishna with bhava. When you understand Vasudevam Sarvamiti, Krishna is everything, the source of everything there. So this first shloka itself, to understand, is so special there. In fact, everybody should remember this shloka. How many remember this shloka? Okay, let's do some recitation here. Aham sarvas. So how the recitation technique is, everything you should recite 3 times, right? 3 times. Then become kantas. And last time you should recite without seeing. There. Then becomes kantas. So I will, after this exercise, I'll ask you who all remember the shlokas you have to recite. There. And reciting Gita shlokas is very amazing. There. Especially if you want to preach, you should recite Gita shlokas there. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajante mam bodha bhava samanvitaha. Iti matva bhajante mam bodha bhava samanvitaha. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajante mam bodha bhava samanvitaha. Yes, anybody like to recite now? Remember just now? Okay. No, no, who remember just now? Yeah, you know. Okay, very nice. Sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu means good, good. Excellent. Bravo. That's the meaning of sadhu sadhu. Yes. Anybody? Try. Kedar? You remember now? Or you remembered before? Somebody who remembered now. Anybody from Mataji's team? You try? Okay. Yes. Mattaha. Yeah. Very good. Any boys? Prashant? Okay, I will go. Remember just now? Okay, good. Hmm. So this is the way you remember it. See, if you make a determination, I have to remember it, you will remember. If you think it will not happen, it will not happen. It's like this. And I remember I should try myself remembering, not happen. And one time shloka recitation test was there. I remembered all shloka. Because Abhi recite karna, you take a target. Abhi recite karna. You keep reciting, keep happen, it will happen. Little like this, you have to recite. And many times I do the exercise, devotees remember it. Some I think today focus is little less. There. It's easy, it's not very difficult. See, we have to preach, we have to remember the shlokas. Without remembering shlokas, I think, do you see Prabhupada quotes so many shlokas? In every Prabhupada lecture here, so many shlokas will be there. So if you have to preach, to go back to water, you don't have to remember shlokas. But you have to preach some shlokas you should remember. And especially if you sing and contemplate on the meaning, it becomes very nice. Now, somebody may say, is Krishna proud? Krishna is talking so much, I'm the source of all spiritual material world, everything emanates from me. The wife, you perfectly know this, engage in my devotion service and worship me with all their hearts. So, what do you think? Krishna is proud? Krishna is thinking like this. Krishna should be humble, God should have all qualities, humility, and think why God is so much talking about himself in Bhagavad Gita. Many people, when they read this question, comes in their mind. So, how to answer that? Yes. Okay. Okay. A prime minister of a country says is authentic. See, whenever we talk about our greatness, we are lying. How? Prakriti kiremani gune karmani sarvasha ahankar vimanatma kartamiti matte. The prakriti kiremanani. So who is the doer? Prakriti. The Krishna is saying the third. That's why to learn this, you have to learn first the first 6 chapters. So what Krishna is saying in the third chapter? Prakriti kiremanani gune karmani sarvasha ahankar vimunatma kartamiti manyate. So who is the doer? So suppose we did something great. So we did or Prakriti did? Very difficult to answer. You read third chapter of Gita, right? What third chapter of Gita says? Prakriti kiremanani. Okay, I'll explain the meaning of this verse. Then we'll be able to understand. Prakriti kiremanani. Prakriti. Prakriti is what? What is Prakriti? Now, what do you call Prakriti? According to Bhagavad Gita, how do you define Prakriti? Maya. Maya Devi, she is Prakriti, 3 guna. Gune karmani sarvasha. Devi esha gunamai mamaya durataya. So Prakriti has the 3 gunas, Satogun, Rajagun, Tamogun. And whatever is done in this world is done by the three gunas. Nobody else does any work. Nobody does any work, only the three gunas do the work. Is it right or wrong? Silence. Obviously, but who's doing? Prakriti, no? Who's doing work? So we don't do any work. Who does the work? Prakriti, not convinced. Not convinced or not convinced? That's why I should do Bhakti Shastri very nicely. You're a Bhakti Shastri student, no? Shrutesh Prabhu. Shrutesh, you've done the first 6 chapter. The Prakriti does everything explained. See, online attending classes, this is ours. So then I'm thinking, do any Bhakti Shastri course, we'll do physically only. Yeah. Anybody else? Where's the you are attending? Hey, Yogesh Prabhu. You have done Bhakti Shastri, no? How Prakriti is the doer. Soul? Through the guna, we identify with the body and then we think we are doing. But actually, even see, our body, our mind, our intelligence, they are Prakriti only, no? So if we do anything, it's not the soul doing, it's the Prakriti doing, it's the body doing. So, and it is under Krishna's direction. That is why if we try to want to do something, it doesn't happen. How many experience in this life? You want to do something, it doesn't happen. Why? Because we don't have a control over it. Who has control? Krishna has control. And but if you do something successful and you think you did it, this is a biggest illusion. Ahankar vimanatma karta miti manyate. So if one understands this concept of Gita, one can overcome depression, anxiety, inferiority complex, superiority complex. Just by understanding this verse of Bhagavad. And there, the divine depression happen, you identify with Prakriti. You think you are in control and things don't happen, things happen against you, go into depression. Why superiority complex? I'm doing it. There's a superiority complex. Why inferiority complex? I can't do it. That's an inferiority complex. One forget, Are Baba, I'm not the doer. There's a Prakriti who's doing it. And then one becomes very simple. So the point what to say is, because Krishna, and therefore Bhagavad Gita is very, very practical. You can solve a lot of problems in life through Bhagavad Gita knowledge. It just awakens. See, one thing is you find practical solutions for every problem. Or you rise above by the knowledge of Gita in transcendence and you automatically find solution to all problems, which is better. Self-help books will give you solution. Okay, problem 1, do this. Problem 2, do this. But Bhagavad Gita will raise your consciousness to transcendence. From there, you can solve all problems of life. Because you have raised above. You're raised above. So when you're on the ground, sometimes volcano is coming, sometimes hurricane is coming, sometimes coming. But you raise above whatever comes, you're aloof. And that is the beauty of knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And that's why when we go and learn Bhagavad Gita from a person who understands Bhagavad Gita, all our anathas go away. And one becomes steady in the path of bhakti. One becomes steady in the path of bhakti by reading Bhagavad Gita. So that's the beauty of Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. There. So now when we talk about our greatness, it appears foolish. Vimulatma. And many of time do people experience the moment you talk great about you, कुछ ना कुछ problem हो जाता है. How many experience this? Something good is happening in life, सबको जाके बोलने लगो, अगले दिन से कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाती है. Huh? How many have experienced this? Why does it happen? Because we are not the doer. And when you think we put into illusion, we are the doer, so Krishna removes that illusion. Right? How many experience? जीवन में सब कुछ अच्छा चल रहा है, प्रभु बहुत अच्छा, मैं खुश हूँ, अगले दिन से प्रॉब्लम्स आना चालू. How many experiences? Or you say, Prabhu, I went for preaching and 10 boys are come. कल से वो आना बंद कर देंगे. How many experience of this, right? Why does it happen? Because we are falsely thinking ourselves to the doer. That means whatever we do, we should not take credit for it. We should say, by Krishna's mercy, I'm able. Yes, I'm just an instrument. He's letting me do through. That's a mood a devotee should have. Same way book distribution you see. The moment you feel little pride, no books will. And when you humble, prayerful mode, and some way or other somebody will come and take the books away. That's why book distribution help us. Or any preaching you do. The boy whom you were least expecting, he becomes a devotee. And the boy you were expecting so much, he doesn't become a devotee. Yeah. But when Krishna says it is the truth, it is the absolute truth. So he is not lying. When we talk about our greatness, we are lying, according to knowledge of Gita. So to the outside world, it appears it's the truth. But when Krishna speaks, he does it. He actually does it because everything happens according to his. And see, great personalities, even they do small mistake, everybody do upon, right? Or they may die. But Krishna is all time to come. He was there when universe was not there. He is there when universe is there. He will remain when universe. So Krishna is the only hero and only person who does. And that's why Krishna is saying, I'm the source of all spiritual and material words there. And Krishna is very, very humble. So same example is said, if suppose somebody asks a person, if child doesn't know who's my father and asks, Father, who's my father? Father says, I'm your father. So is it boasting or is it the truth? And to say I'm not the father, that is false, right? It's not humility. So same way Arjuna is asking, who are you? Please tell me more. And Krishna is telling, I'm the father of everybody. In fact, Krishna is very, very humble. If you see first 6 chapters, only few verses Krishna talk about himself. He didn't spoke. Second chapter is only one verse Krishna talk about himself. Anybody knows which is verse in second chapter Krishna talk about himself? Nobody. Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asit matpara. It's only verse Krishna says meditate in the second chapter. Baki is talking about Brahman, he's talking about Dayar. And that very little hint Krishna is talking about. In the third chapter, which is the verse Krishna is talking about himself. Huh? That is fourth chapter. Mai sarvani karmani sannyasa sata adhyatma chetasa nirashiro nirmamo vata yugata. This is a vigata jvara. That dedicate all your activities to me. There. Whole Karma Yoga spoke. Krishna nowhere spoke. He talked about yajnana, that, karmanopi, anyatna bandhana. There. So why people like karmaneva adhikaresu verse? Krishna didn't spoke about himself. Yat Kuroshi Adashnasi is better verse than Karmaneva adhikaresu. But people don't quote this. People will quote Karmaneva adhikaresu. So only one verse. In the fourth chapter, Krishna spoke some verses about it. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yavati tatpata bhutani cha vishyani. I know past, present, and future. In fifth chapter, again only one verse Krishna speaks about. Bhoktaram eketavsam sarlokam maheshwaram suridam sarvbhutanam yatam. In sixth chapter, yogi nam api. From seventh chapter, Krishna start talking about his. They waited till sixth chapter. Krishna is very, very humble. Then Krishna spoke about himself only in how many verses? 700 verses. But when his devotee spoke, how much he spoke? 18,000. Now, do you find any lila in Bhagavad Gita? In childhood only I showed the universal form to my mother. Krishna is not talking only about himself. He only showed the universal form on the case of Arjuna. It's very, very humble there. And only who is non-envious can understand Bhagavad Gita. Somebody has envy, think, oh, why Krishna is talking so many glories of himself? That is a sign of envy. So when we understand how Krishna is the source of everything, one thing, the concept how Krishna is the whole universe. How Krishna is the whole universe. Universal form we talk about. It's a very interesting concept. Like suppose, are we our body? Are we our body? But even if I have to say Kripakar Prabhu, then I say Kripakar Prabhu with specs. Kripakar Prabhu has eyes like this. Kripakar Prabhu has a spoke like this. But is it Kripakar Prabhu? No, it is not Kripakar Prabhu. What do you say? Confused. What to say? Now when I say, okay, Suresh Prabhu. So Suresh Prabhu has specs, Suresh Prabhu has this. Is Suresh Prabhu is he? Then who is Suresh Prabhu? Who are you? Huh? Part and parcel of Krishna. Is not so very nice. But is the body part and parcel or? So where is Suresh Prabhu then? Then where is Suresh Prabhu? Ah, but I can't see his soul, so I will refer to his body. Yes. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Sunite Vashpandita Pandita Sama Darshina. So you want to become Pandita, but this kind of Pandita. You want to become Pandit, but this kind of Pandit there. So because I can't see his soul, I refer to him by his body. Same way, those people who can't see Krishna, this refer to Lord, the universe as the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, which is called Virat Rupa. Like I can't see the soul of Suresh Prabhu, then I see this is Suresh Prabhu, right? And I will take him as a bodily feature. Same way any Mataji also. If I can't see the soul, I will see the body because I can't see the soul there. So I will identify with the body. The same way, people who can't see Krishna directly, as devotees, they are fortunate. We understand here Radha Madhava was standing, he's the Supreme Lord, control of everything. But those who are not so intelligent to understand this, okay, see this universe. That is the Lord. That is why universe is the body of the Lord, because universe, everything was there, but nothing manifested unless and until Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Same way, unless super soul enters, nothing manifests in the body. Same way, unless Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters, nothing happens in the universe. So this whole body becomes the universal, the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And just like we refer to people as their body, not knowing who they are, unintelligent people refer to this universe as the Lord. And that's the meaning of the Virat. And therefore, since this universe is the body of the Lord, there's nothing else apart from God. That means whatever is happening in the universe is happening according to the will of the Lord, a plan of the Lord. And all the jivas are also there as a part of this universal body of the Lord. There. So when one understands this, that Krishna is the source of everything happening there, so what to do? Chant Hare Krishna. Then you can peacefully chant Hare Krishna despite material challenges. If the life going peaceful, you can chant Hare Krishna. When life doesn't go peaceful, what happens? अरे इसने वो कर दिया चैंटिंग में भी मन नहीं लगता तो इति मतवा भजन्ते माम बुधा भावा समन्ता there and that's why Bhagavad Gita's knowledge is very very deep. If somebody understands it, he'll remain unaffected by all material circumstances and he can see Krishna in every situation of life. And that's why we need to hear it again and again because we hear it again it evaporates. We hear it again it evaporates. So again, hear it to develop this realization. And that's why Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita is so important. And now the next verse is very important. Next three verses. Matchitta Madgata Prana bodhayanta parasparam katyantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Now, what is chitta? What is chitta? Awareness, yeah, consciousness. Chitta is consciousness. I'm conscious of something. It's called chitta. There. So there's antakaran. Antakaran has man, buddhi, ahankar, and chitta. There. The chit, the original chit becomes chitta when comes in contact with material consciousness. And because of this chitta only we are aware. Or sometimes the chitta also referred to as subconscious mind. If you want to know who you are when you're alone and when you have nothing to do, what you do. Suppose you have nothing to do and you are alone. What you do that time, that's why you know what is there in your chitta. Most people, what they do, they watch movies. They do. Now, as devotees, we have to see what we do. So we understand how much we are in material life and how much we are in spiritual life. When we are alone and we have nothing else duty to do, what do we do at that point? What our mind says there. So give my chitta, become conscious of me. So by our default mode should be Krishna. And Madgata Prana, life dedicated to me. Bodhayanta Parasparam. They preach, they discuss about me to each other. Kathayantascha. And they do my katha, preach my glories, they speak my glories. And just by doing this, what happens? Tashanti-cha, ramanti-cha. They feel satisfied and they feel happy. So there is no greater joy than glorifying Krishna. The secret of bhakti. See, mechanical bhakti will not give us satisfaction. When we are glorifying Krishna, that will give us satisfaction. There. See, many brahmacharis also becoming famous in YouTube. And sometimes very famous YouTube brahmacharis, they say, if we speak about Krishna directly, all our people will go away. So you can't speak about Krishna. So better to have 100 people only to follow you, but you are able to speak about Krishna there. Means, of course, that is also service because people are creating appreciation for Prabhupada, ISKCON. But for a devotee, the opportunity to speak about Krishna is the greatest benediction. Hear about Krishna and speak about Krishna. And speak about Krishna may not be everybody should have a program. Just make a book reading circle with 4 devotees. Read Bhagavatam every day. Now we started, all brahmacharis, they started reading Chaitanya Charitamrita every day, Monday to Friday, 45 minutes. Wherever, because everybody is there in book distribution here and there. They started reading Chaitanya Charitamrita every day, 6 to 6:45 p.m. And whoever doesn't come, I call them. Where are you? There. So, and we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it's going quite there. So, Bodhayanta Parasparam. Take a book, make a study circle, keep reading it. There. Or find new boys, preach them, and keep reading. Bodhayanta Parasparam. Kathanta Chamanada. And if you're so satisfied, the Shanti Cha, Ramanti Cha, or Krishna. And that's the beauty. There. And directly about Krishna. That will satisfy. When you read, talk about Krishna. Like one of my favorite thing is just read Krishna book with devotees and explain. Read Krishna book with devotees and explain with it. There is nothing. Or read Bhagavad Gita and explain. So, because this is Krishna, and another thing is when you now you can see Bhagavad Gita impersonally or you can see Bhagavad Gita personally. How you can see Bhagavad Gita impersonally? And how can you see Bhagavad Gita personally? Okay, instruction Krishna no lie. It's in middle way. There. But yeah, if you see is a personal instruction to you, then it is personal. There, okay. Yes. Like, see, impersonals also read Gita and we also read Gita. What is the difference? Now, what I talk about karma, and Prakriti Kiremanani. Impersonal also explain it very nicely. But what is the difference between bhaktas and impersonal reading Gita? Krishna is Sarvamiti. No, they will also say Krishna is Sarvamiti and he lost in Sarvamiti. Krishna is lost in Sarvamiti. That's what. And that's why Krishna is saying, Maya tata midam sarvam dagyat murtina. So what is difference between impersonal reading Gita and persons reading Gita? We surrender to Krishna. Very nice. This one. The South Indian Brahmana, when he was reading Gita, he didn't able to recite the shlokas. What to say of remembering them? And all other people are making fun. Suppose I'm giving a class and I recite wrongly, and all the boys start laughing. All the boys start laughing. It's not so easy to continue that class. You make a mistake. So like that, he was reciting, and people are making fun of him. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, "Brahman, you're crying. Why are you crying reading Gita?" And he says, "When I'm reading Gita, I'm seeing how Krishna is so merciful. Krishna is speaking this knowledge to Arjuna. He's taking the chariot, his Bhaktavatsala, and just thinking that tears are coming in my eyes." This is a personal reading. This is how a devotee reads Gita. He sees Krishna's love. He sees Krishna's compassion. He just doesn't see knowledge. And when you see that Krishna's love, that how Krishna loves his devotees so much, how Krishna is so merciful, then actually read. And you see, Krishna spoke this for his devotee Arjuna. Then it's a very great, the reading of Gita becomes very devotional because of that. Because you're seeing Krishna's words in Gita. Krishna is speaking this to me. Machitta katayanta shamamnitya tushanti cha ramanti cha teshamivanu kampartham jnana chandama. I remove ignorance from their heart. So when you see Krishna's anugraha, Krishna's love for us, Krishna's compassion for us, this is a personal way of reading Gita. And just by reading Bhagavad Gita, one can become a pure devotee in this way. And in this way, one can understand Bhagavad Gita. And that's why Bhagavad Gita is very special. Dashanti cha, Ramanti cha. And there's a book, 108 shlokas. One should try to remember those shlokas. I remember we gave a test also, 108 shlokas in our PDC 2011. There. You had shloka test? Yogeshwar? No, you missed it. Okay. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. The lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So, how many want to become pure devotees? So, now proper given definition, what does a pure devotee means? See, we have our conception. Pure devotee means this. Pure devotee means he does something and everybody get enchants by this. We have our idea about pure devotee. The pure devotee will walk means whole air will be. We have very, different conceptions of a pure devotee. But that's not a pure devotee. I mean, that's also a pure devotee, but that doesn't mean to be a pure devotee. The empowered acharyas will do certain activities which will mesmerize people. But necessarily a pure devotee may not mesmerize people. He will mesmerize Krishna. They engage themselves fully in the transcendental service of the Lord. Their mind cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their tongues are solely on the transcendental subject. And the simple of symptoms of pure devotees are described in this verse. They are engaged 24 hours daily in glorifying the quality and power. See, what does it mean 24 means? Even Goswami slept for 2 hours. So even Goswamis also slept for 2 hours. Right? So what does it mean? So what does this mean to the thoughts of mind? So what does it mean? Their purpose of life is to glorify Krishna. Even they eat to glorify Krishna. They sleep to glorify Krishna. I should take that much rest by which I can chant properly. I should take that much food by which I can chant and discuss Krishna Katha properly. I don't sleep in that class. That much food I should take. That much sleep I should take by which I don't sleep in that class. So that is their only purpose of life. How much I should earn by which I should glorify Krishna. There. So that's a pure devotee. The purpose of their life is glorify Krishna. They will arrange their life in a way where they can preach and make other people devotees. That becomes the purpose of their life and get an opportunity to glorify Krishna. That's a pure devotee. And their heart and soul are constantly submerged in Krishna and they take pleasure in discussing him with other devotees. Not only they do preaching, they also discuss Krishna Katha with other devotees. Because new people even mainly speak about body and soul and things. But with devotees only you can relish the internal mood of Krishna. They have pastimes there. They find with this. That's a pure devotee. Very simple to read. And Prabhupada said, just I have given so many books, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charita. Keep reading, will become a pure devotee. And Prabhupada says here, in the preliminary state of devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself. And the mature state, they're actually situated in love of God. So initially, devotees initially we may not just hear Krishna Katha and feel ecstasy. You should go out, do menial seva, book distribution. You feel happy or not? And as we become a little advanced, and just by hearing Prabhupada books and things, you feel into exist. But initially, you have to do some seva with it. I'm saying initially, they find joy from their seva. And in advanced stage, they can relish the highest perfection achieved by the immature state that actually situated in above God there. And then Prabhupada speaks about Bhakti Lata Beach. Grows, 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 and go to Golok, Vrindavan. And last paragraph, Prabhupada says very amazing. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is also full of such narrations about the relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, because it also talk about that when one is pure love of Lord, he cannot live in moment without the Supreme Lord. In this narration, there is nothing about mental activities, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the only narration in which the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord and his devotees is fully described. Thus, the realized souls in Krishna consciousness take continuous pleasure in hearing such transcendent literature, just as a young boy and a girl take pleasure in association with each. Now, this is revolutionary purport. And this is being said by even Rupa Goswami there. So, that means what? The highest pleasure a person finds in talks between a boy and a girl. There. That's what people find. That's what the whole movie is all about there. Right? Why? Because people find great pleasure. But Śrīla Prabhupāda has given something more higher pleasure than this. What? When we read about Vritasur praying, Aham Hare Tam Pade Kamula Dasa Nudasa Bhavitashmi Bhuya Mana Smate Pate Ganaste Grini Tavaka Karam Karo Tukaya. Lord, when I again be servant or servant, when I again think of your glories, when will I again speak about your glories, think of your lotus feet, and engage my body in your service? And he says, Ajata Paksha Iva Mataram Khaga Istanyam Vasara Shudha Shadata Pirya Pirya Vitatang Vitakshana Mano Arvindaksha Didakshate. Just as the baby birds waiting when the mother will come, when the calf is waiting, that when the time to milk the cow, he'll get the udder of the mother. And just as a wife is waiting for a husband, I'm waiting to see you, my love. He's feeling so much eagerness with it. that nobody feels. So when devotees read such narrations with it, they forget the pleasures of this world there. And this is the beauty of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. There. If one immerses in the pleasures and ecstasy of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the Prabhupada is glorifying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam here. So first we should understand Bhagavad Gita nicely. Then we will be able to absorb in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So that is the narrations of beauty that when one is absorbed in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, one forgets everything else. And one feels great love for Krishna because of that. The beauty of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And that's what I say. Majjattaha matkata. Kathayantascha mam nitya tushyanti cha ramanti cha. There. And that's why those who have Bhagavatam said, you should read Bhagavatam. They start reading Śrīmad Bhagavatam, at least first canto. And Bhagavad Gita one should learn from a devotee. Then you will understand Bhagavad Gita. If you read yourself, difficult to understand. But you learn with devotees, read with devotees. And every word of Bhagavad Gita will make a lot of sense. So, and now Krishna says, now in the second chapter, Krishna says, you should do buddhi yoga to control your senses. Now in this chapter, Krishna is not talking about sense control. Can you see any verse where Krishna talks about sense control between 7 to 12 chapters? Through buddhi yoga. Try to control your senses. No there. So Krishna says, if you serve me with love, I will give you intelligence by which you can control the senses. I will give you buddhi yoga by which you will be able to control the senses. And that's what this verse is saying. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam apayanti te. This is Tesham satata yuktana. They're always engaged. How? See, everything Krishna is giving a qualifier. What he's expecting from us. Tesham satata yuktana. Mechanical purvakam? Duty purvakam? No. Preeti purvakam. Bhajatam Preeti purvakam. That means it's very important to worship Krishna with Preeti. And whoever worships Krishna with Preeti, what happens? Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I'll give him the intelligence. Yenamam upayanti de. How to go back to Krishna. The buddhi yoga Krishna referred in the second chapter. That by buddhi yoga you control your senses. I give that buddhi yoga. So if you serve Krishna with love, you will get intelligence how to become serious in Krishna. And it so happen when we feel very enthusiasm and make new plans how to become devotee, how to become Krishna conscious. Because devotees ka bhi momentum acha hota hai. They are also pushing us. But after some time, when we stop doing bhajatam priti purvakam, the excitement goes away and rengti egadi. So what is the thing? Learn to do everything for pleasure of Krishna. Like we're chanting 16 rounds. Just chant the rounds using Krishna. Not just getting done with the rounds. You are hearing the class to glorify Krishna, to hear glories of Krishna. You go for preaching to glorify Krishna, to please Krishna. If you're cooking at home, what is the menu today I will enjoy? No. What way I can please Krishna? If you just offer the bhoga to the Lord with love, you will see senses will automatically become controlled. Of course, one should not do anything wrong physically. One should do dhamma, means control the senses. But when one serves Krishna with love, sense control becomes very easy. And when one's bhakti is mechanical, sense control is difficult. When bhakti is mechanical, sense control is difficult. But when one serves Krishna with love, sense control, and all other following other things in life, how to make progress, how to get an idea, how to make progress in life, it becomes very, very easy. Because dadami buddhi yogam te yemam upayante. So I give the intelligence by which a person comes to. And Krishna is only expecting little love. If we are offering big, big bhoga, Krishna wants to see our love in offering to that bhoga. Whatever we are doing, Krishna wants to see our love in that there. That we want to offer to Krishna. Like many Matajis came forward, you want to recite 18, Janvi Mataji told, you want to recite 18 chapters of Gita on Gita Jayanti Day. So offering of love to the Lord there. And when we serve Krishna with love, we automatically will get an idea how to progress in spiritual life there. So what the spiritual master does is teaches us this bhakti, how to serve Krishna, how to please Krishna, with what motivation to love, which even after reading scriptures one doesn't get it. You may read all the scriptures, still one will not understand how to love Krishna, how to please Krishna. But only when one comes with a devotee, and the devotee tells, this way you should please Krishna, this way you should love Krishna, and bhakti becomes. Because even after reading all the scriptures, one will not become a devotee. Because this mood of pleasing Krishna may not get. And that's bhakti. And that's why bhakti is very, very confidential. Because one will not understand the mood of pleasing Krishna, serving Krishna. One will not able to understand whether Krishna is accepting the seva or not. Then question of pleasing comes later. Only in devotee association you understand, yes, Krishna is accepting. This is a way to please Krishna. This is way to serve Krishna. There. And when you learn, transcendental, loving, devotional service. If you see initial chapters of Bhagavad Gita talk about selfless work. Selfish work to selfless work. Then from selfless work to transcendental work. Then to transcendental, loving, devotional service. There's a gradation of Bhagavad Gita. So we are all engaged in selfish work. जो भी करते हैं अपने लिए करते हैं. थोड़ा सेवा करो, थोड़ा selfless work करो. The first person start doing selfless work for outside people. Then further, no, we should do selfless work for God. अभी love नहीं है. Let me do some seva for the Lord. और devotees ने इतना किया, उनके लिए थोड़ा कुछ करते हैं. Devotees have done so much for me. Now they're calling for some volunteering work. चलो आ जाते हैं. We feel like that or not? So अभी love नहीं हुआ है. अभी selfless devotional service start करके. And slowly it becomes transcendental. Means we do it without any material motives. When you do anything with material motives, it's not transcendental. It's material. When you do it without material motive, it becomes transcendental. And then slowly we feel, oh, let me do it to please Krishna. There, Krishna will be pleased by this. And then one comes to the platform of loving, transcendental, loving devotional service. And that's the goal of life. It completely satisfies. And this one can learn only from a Vaishnava. Nowhere else you can learn this. And that's why association with devotees. And anybody came in touch with Prabhupada, they got this. Because Prabhupada's every moment was transcendental, loving, devotional. And if we see carefully life of a spiritual master, the life is full, transcendental, loving, devotional service, everything done for the pleasure of their Guru. And that is the Guru Parampara. Without this, we cannot understand what is loving devotion. And that is the bhakti. And that's what the Chaturshloki Bhagavad explained, do everything for pleasing Krishna. And that's why it contains the essence of the whole purpose of Sarvabhavan Parityajya is what? Not to live every day, to do everything for pleasure of Krishna and give up all our conceptions that I have to do this, I have to do this. No, I'm just Krishna's servant. I will do everything for Krishna's pleasure. And this is a mode of bhakti, which Krishna is so mercifully explaining in Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna, if you do this, I will take you back to Garden. Tesham samudharta mrityu sansar santa. There. So this is the goal, and devotee should think, oh, am I doing my service for pleasing Krishna? What is my motive? The first one should think, okay, I am doing it for my purification, not name and fame, for my purification. But eventually one should come to that form. Am I doing it for pleasing Krishna? So any devotional service, am I doing chanting just to finish my rounds, or doing my chanting really to please God? Any service there. And then it becomes loving devotion. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to. See, one devotee in Mayapur, he chants 64 rounds a daily. And whatever he does with love. And he cooks for, and he's a kitchen in charge. He's cooks in the kitchen for brahmacharis. And he's not very learned in scriptures, but he does it there. And devotees will learn Shad Sandarbha of Jiva Goswami and will ask question to him, and he will tell all the answers. And Shad Sandarbha is the most complex thing. How? Krishna gives the answer. So one devotee stayed with that devotee for 1 week. He got so inspired. Oh, now whatever I will do it for pleasing Krishna. Nothing else my motives. That is what Krishna is telling in Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. And it starts with a desire to please Guru. Follow the instructions of Guru. And then slowly, what happens? We start trying to do please Krishna. Yasya prasadat Bhagavad Prasada. And that's why hearing about the spiritual master, how spiritual master did loving devotional service, we contemplate on the life of Guru. Then we start understanding what is this bhakti, this transcendental. So bhakti is not about renunciation. Bhakti is about desire to please Krishna, to be eager for Krishna. That is bhakti. There. Like Mahaprabhu was taking darshan of Jagannath from Garudastham. One Uriya lady came, 1 foot on Garuda, 1 foot on Mahaprabhu. And Govinda saying, Are and Mahaprabhu said, Are you are a Adivasi. She so much eagerness. I don't have so much eagerness to see Jagannath. That she forgot the world only, who is where is she? She has so much eagerness. I don't have that eagerness to see that. Mahaprabhu was saying. So this is the devotion. And this awakened by following the regulative principle given by the spiritual master. Chanting our rounds properly, following forwarded principle, reading Bhagavad Gita, hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. This bhakti will awaken. And that's the Prem Pumarth. And Prabhupada says the qualification that a person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of service. At least don't fight with devotees. Not devotees also and not your relatives also. Don't fight. Because the same tendency to fight with relatives will come with devotees also. It just matter whom you are close with. There. So don't fight. And render with love and devotion. You should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be done with love. So that's the beauty. And what about the anarthas for such a devotee? Krishna says, what about lust, pride, anger, greed, envy, illusion, bodily identification? Right? Krishna answered this also. Tesham ivanu kampardam aham ajnanajam tamaha nashyami ad bhavasto jnanivet. I to show mercy to him, I destroy the ignorance, which tapasvis are trying so hard. But for a devotee, I do personally ended the lamp of knowledge. This is the mercy of Krishna. To give wealth is not that mercy of Krishna. To give heaven is not mercy of Krishna. But to give prema bhakti, that is a great mercy of Krishna. So anybody who has a prema bhakti, Krishna automatically destroys ignorance from his heart, sinful tendencies. And that's what Krishna is talking about. So if you learn to love devotion, so you don't have to worry about the anarthas, Krishna will personally. You should just try to serve Krishna with. To show them special mercy, dwelling in their heart, destroy the shining lamp of knowledge, the darkness born of ignorance. But some Mayavadis may say, अरे तुम Hare Krishna कहते उससे क्या होगा? No, Krishna will be pleased and Krishna will. That's why in Kali Yuga nothing works than Hare Krishna. Because the heart has become so contaminated, by our efforts we can't clean it. Only when we chant Hare Krishna it will get clean. There is no other way, there is no other way there. And that's the power of bhakti. So since a devotee engaging Krishna consciousness cannot be without knowledge, the only qualification that one carry out devotional service all Krishna. And that's the beauty of say, due to contamination of meditation, many millions of births, one heart is always covered with the dust of meditation. But when one engages in devotional service, constantly chants Hare Krishna, the dust quickly clears and one is able to get more of their mind. Like I remember one time we were cutting sabji. Now I said, Prabhu, I don't get a desire to serve Krishna. What to do? No problem. Chant Hare Krishna. One time we had a big, 7-8 devotees were there, big mountain of sabji was there. And we were cutting. We started 6 o'clock in the morning. मैंने कहा चलो अभी सब्जी कट करें थोड़ा भगवान का हरि नाम लेते हुए कट करते हैं सब्जी. They started singing. It became 9 o'clock. I'm feeling, give us more sabji. So though we didn't have a pure intentions, but because we're chanting Hare Krishna, it became pure. So when while doing services, cooking, anything, holy name is on our tongue. That way it becomes pure love. That's the beauty of love. There. And that's how simple is the Bhakti Yoga given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna put many conditions. If you do this, then I will do this. If you do this, I will do this. Bhajatam priti purkam dadami buddhi. Sadharman partaje mokshashami machucha. Sarpape. So every verse comes with Ananya Chintayantamam Yukshimam Amyam. Everything comes with condition. But Mahaprabhu said Kali Yuga Jiva has no condition. Chant. Take the mercy. So this is a mercy of Shri Chaitanya has come to qualify us to fulfill the conditions of Krishna. So when we see how much Krishna is so merciful, if we want to advance in spiritual life, we should always remember how devotees are so merciful. How devotees have done so much sacrifices for us. How much Śrīla Prabhupāda has done sacrifices for us. And how Krishna has arranged everything, all this for us. There. And how Lord is so merciful to take back us. And then the Sambandha will develop. So this gratitude for the Lord, this presence of Lord in our life is something very, very important for a devotee. And when one puts it, you see everything start transforming in life. Bhakti becomes very, very simple. So this is what about Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. This is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And you see, every chapter Krishna is talking from the 7th chapter, surrender unto. Even from 4th chapter it starts, 5th chapter, surrender unto me. He will talk about his glories and say, okay, surrender unto me. He'll talk about his glories because unless you know somebody is worthy to taking shelter, why you surrender? And that's what Krishna is asking. Just surrender to me. I will take everything there. And this is the meaning of surrender. That the purpose of our life is to please Krishna and purify Krishna. So you should think, I should not have no other purpose in life. See, I'm doing all duties of my work and things. That's Krishna not telling to give up the duties. Dharmantaveta doesn't mean that one takes sannyas. Because Arjuna was going for sannyas. Krishna says, stop. Don't take sannyas. Do what I am telling. But it means that whatever purpose of life is just to please Krishna. Machat bhakata prana bodhayanta panaspakatanchatam bhajatam pritipurkam. That is the purpose of our life. Have moment to moment. Our life will be. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. So how it is? Soul is getting desires based on previous janma. And based on desire, Paramatma is guiding Prakriti to do the things. So everything is interconnected. It instigates from the soul, desires of the soul. The soul has impressions of the past, those impressions will instigate the desires. Now to act upon those desires and thoughts is in your hand. It's not automatic. So if you don't control it, then Paramatma sanction, the Prakriti will act like. Suppose you're feeling angry. You can see two things. I am angry, or my mind is feeling anger. So in the second statement, you're not identifying with your anger. You understand it's a past impressions. So let me stop. Then Prakriti will not act. The Prakriti is trying to act, but you stop it there. It takes shelter of Krishna. And then it may not act. We may not act upon our anger. Understood? Na? We have that control. But that becoming angry and not angry is our Prakriti. Now Prakriti is both. Now we have impressions, then the gunas awaken those impressions. For example, now you have, if somebody has impression to become angry, but when you go to Rajoguni state, then those will be incited. Like you eat very spicy food, then it become very easy to incite those impressions. You go in a very Rajoguni place there. You come to temple, anger thoda calm ho jaye. Kyun? Sattoguni. So Sattoguni environment will manifest Sattoguni impressions. Tamoguni environment will manifest Tamoguni impression. But for a pure devotee, no environment will manifest anything. He has gone beyond. But in our stage, the environment will instigate. But if we do Buddhi Yoga, we can take shelter of Krishna, not to act on our impression. For that, to read 6 chapters of Gita, do Bhakti Shastri course. We will soon start in the month next year. So when you do this, you'll be able to understand how we are making it complex. See how making is very simple. Our doership mentality makes everything complex. Because I think I am the doer. सारे झगड़े होते उसी के लिए घर में भी सारे झगड़े उसी के लिए होते हैं बाहर भी सारे झगड़े उसी के लिए होते हैं और कृष्णा कॉन्शियस में भी सारे झगड़े उसी के लिए होते हैं there is no other thing otherwise you can very peacefully do so many services for Krishna if you give a doership you can run the whole planet earth and that's what Krishna is saying nacha karmani nirdhanti kintu dhanya that nothing binds me if you understand this nothing will bind you also let go. So it will systematically we'll see in Bhakti Shastri course that how this we make our life complex due to doership. Manu Prabhu. Yeah. Can you repeat, Prabhu? Yes, yes. Why is that we need to do it again? Something happens in your life, someone says, let's remember for the whole life. If you have to do it again, why are things of Bhagavad Gita they need to be read multiple times? They don't remain with us. No, whether it remain with us or not, still we should read multiple times. That's the first question. Because reading them itself is excessive. I have given this lecture so many times. From 3-4 days, every day I'm giving the same lecture. But I'm feeling more and more happy giving the same lecture. Because should we read, because the words of Krishna should we read multiple times, that is devotion service. Just like Hare Krishna Mantra should be chanted every day, this also should be repeated multiple times. You can remember, we can read one shloka every day. There's no problem with it. It will make your life perfect. So repetition is not a problem. But why do we not remember or absorb? Because our mental absorption is high. And spiritual absorption is very less. And even while we are reading also, that mental absorption will not allow us to sink in the spiritual message. But if we keep reading and give more time, the mental absorption, abnivesha, will reduce. And spiritually things will start making more sense. And that's why we have to give out more time for spiritual act. Like you came today for Bhagavatam class. It was a Saturday. Sunday तो हो जाता है, नहीं आए तो devotees पूछते हैं कि प्रभु जी क्या हो गया नहीं आ रहे. Saturday नहीं आए तो कोई नहीं पूछता है. But still, devotees came. So many devotees came. Some devotees came morning 6:30 only there. So that increases our spiritual absorption. So more and more spiritual absorption we do. And one thing I observed, like that as you keep increasing your spiritual absorption, then material things become simple. Solving material problem becomes easy. So attachment is not there, ego is not there. But till that time that ego and attachments are there, spiritual absorption becomes difficult. That ego will be keep hooking us, and due to which spiritual absorption will not come. So association of devotees is the way to develop a spiritual absorption. They can cut through our ignorance. Om Agyan, Jnanam Dinashya Chakshumnita Tasmay Shri Gurve Namah. Am Tesham Ivanu Kampartam Am Agyana Jam. So that is a better absorption. No problem, because there's a nature of soul. To do things for pleasure of Krishna is a nature of soul. So there's a true ego. But when you see activity, I only can do it, that is material ego. Let me as soul be engaged in Krishna service or pleasure of Krishna is a true ego. But I only can do it, that is material ego. So very thin line between true ego and false ego. That is good. That's a duty platform. But beyond that, we should understand we are chanting for the pleasure of Guru because Guru has told us. And then eventually doing this, we'll also start feeling, oh, this is to give pleasure to Radha and Krishna. Love platform. Fear, desire, duty, and love. So begin with duty. And yeah, they will get benefit. When you conduct Gita course tomorrow, they will be attracted to learn Gita. बोले मैंने हमने recite किया पर पता नहीं हमने क्या पढ़ रहे हैं. But tomorrow they will learn. And those schools distribute also to do Gita contest. You can try Gita contest those schools. Sir, आप श्लोक recite करते हैं हम आपको meaning समझा रहे हैं. Please take our value education contest book. So therefore we have value education contest, no? To give that. So you should go and take permission. It's surely benefit because it's the words of Lord. You repeat the words of the Lord, it will have benefit. Okay, so we end here. Grantraj, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Jai, Prabhupada ki. This Gita by what time?